Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast. This podcast is run by two ladies who play games, shout profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wheel of Crime podcast. My name is Jenn.
My name is Emily. Yeah, so how's your last week been, Jen?
I'm in Iceland right now.
Just
not literally right now, but like as we're recording this.
Yeah.
I will be in Iceland.
Right now, mentally and spiritually in Iceland, and will soon physically be in Iceland.
I really am spiritually in Iceland right now. Like, I feel that for myself. So I'm just like, getting by.
Yes.
Doing my thing.
Are you guys going to do that thing that people like to do, which is like rent a car and then like do the little driving loop? Or are you just going to like check out a couple places?
Well, we're there on kind of like a layover situation. So like, it's kind of like an extended layover. I booked the flight, like, this is how Iceland came about in our travel plans, okay? Because it was not planned.
Yeah.
But we were looking at flights back from Europe, and I found one for a pretty good deal. I was like, it would have like a 21-hour layover in Reykjavik. And then my husband got sold on that idea, and he was like, we must do it. And then it was like, I was like, for sure doing that. Then I was just looking at the options, and I was like, it's actually cheaper to fly from like Paris to Reykjavik. Then we can stay as long as we want.
Yeah. And
then from Reykjavik to home. So we were like, we'll just add we'll add 2 days. That way we can have a little bit more time there. So we are renting a car. I don't know that we'll do the full Golden Circle just because we are on such a limited time there, but we'll do some of it for sure.
I think that'd be so fun though, which you're obviously going to tell me about when you get back, so I'm excited for you.
I'm really excited for me.
How
have you been this week?
I wish I could say I'm up to anything fun this week. I feel like I've just been doing my usual rigmarole. I have been trying to be more, I guess, creative recently, so I keep going through these phases where I want to do like I do creative brainstorming. I'm not so much of like, I'm like not an artist. I'm not really anything, but I am somebody who has like, I guess I could say creative inclinations. So I go through phases where sometimes I like to sew, sometimes I like to do other things, but I'm trying to like challenge myself to use my mind more imaginatively, I guess. So I do play Dungeons and Dragons, and that helps a lot. But I was like thinking the other day, and I was like, one of the really nice things about Dungeons and Dragons is you're kind of creating your own story. Like what would that look like? Like, what do I find interesting? In what ways can I challenge myself to like be a more creative thinker?
Flex that muscle.
Yeah, because then sometimes too I'm playing D&D, and it's really easy to kind of like just lose yourself to the plot a little bit. Like, you've made a character, but you don't like need to be really creative about that character if you don't want to be. You can just be like, my character swings a sword, blah blah blah. And like I am guilty of kind of falling into that, I guess, habitually. So now I'm trying to be like, what would be a very interesting like potential development for my character? Like, where do I want this character to end up? What are some ways that I can like challenge myself using this character into like putting themselves in different situations or what have you, right? So that's kind of where I'm at right now, which I feel like is my cat's trying to blow up my door. Let's just let him have it. But yeah, so I'm trying to do more of that kind of stuff, but it's actually weirdly challenging. I feel like if you're not somebody who is doing that kind of stuff very often, like literally trying to use your imagination regularly, it just does not come naturally. Whereas I feel like as a kid, it used to come naturally to me all the time. Like when I was reading and stuff, I'd be like, oh, that's so cool, but not so much as a boring, grown adult human being.
I feel like it really is hard. I feel like, especially if you're not like consistently trying to like use creativity. Like, I used to have a really creative job, and I feel like I was in such a different mindset that I am now doing a more
structured job.
Like a non-creative job at all. Like I'm in like the contract world and whatever.
Yeah.
And it just really is a different mindset. And I got hired to do like this like small freelance like creative project. And I got really excited because I was like, oh my God, I get to edit again. I'm so excited.
Right? It's just little things like that. So I'm trying to, like, I do know with the job that I have, like, my job's linear, don't get me wrong, but, like, I do occasionally get opportunities to be creative with it, but I just haven't really, like, leapt at the opportunity, I guess, really, because it's a different kind of tired, right? Like, it's very, like I said, it's like a muscle. So, Can you hear how crazy Fig's going in the background, by the way?
No.
Thank God. He is going ape shit on the door. He's like, let me out. He's been trying to catch mice and bring them in while we record, everybody, and I feel like nobody wants that.
No.
Well,
I don't
let
think
him out,
that.
and then I'll shut the door behind him.
Okay.
Because this is distracting. Yes, I love you too. I know. They got one more chance. If a mouse ends up in my house, that's it. It's over for those punks. Anyways.
They're getting booted.
Right? But yeah, so, I don't know. It would be nice to, like, have, like, a good, like, balance for that. I feel like that'd be the best thing for my mental health, but I've learned that I'm very one or the other, for better or for worse. But we'll see. I'm trying to, like, be more balanced.
It is hard to switch your brain in and out of that, but I think with it's just practice, right?
Right? So, and who knows? I feel like when you are somebody who is challenging yourself in these types of ways, it kind of like, I don't know, I feel like it makes life a little bit more interesting, so it's not just so, like, cut and paste every single day.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what I've been up to. So nothing too special. One of those self-challenges we talked about. So we'll see where that gets.
Love it.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Well, should we get into our wheel of questions?
Hell yeah, brother. Let's do it. So, what do you think about hunting stories? Like, I don't know if you know anybody personally in life who's a lot like this. I don't really myself either anymore, but, like, occasionally you meet people who are, like, really into hunting, and they're like, oh, I was out in the woods hunting a buck, or whatever the fuck people do. Like, what is your general opinion on those stories? Are you like, oh, like, this is interesting, or I don't know, or does it kind of make you feel icky? Like, kind of, like, where are we at?
Personally, I have conflicting feelings about it. I feel like because I was a vegetarian for so long that, like, I was very against it for so long. Mm-hmm. I've come around a bit to be like, realistically, like, it's fine. You know, it's not for me, but it's fine. Like, people, you know, within reason and without, like, destroying the environment, it's fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it personally.
Yeah.
But I also don't really surround myself with those people, so I don't really have that perspective of, like, the why. So I don't know. I could change my mind potentially. I'm not closed off to that, but it's not something I would do.
Yeah, I'm kind of...
And it kind of creeps me out when they have the big heads.
Yeah, I'm also on a very similar page. I also don't surround myself with a lot of people who hunt, but my mindset is more that of, I understand that there are people who do this either because it's something their parents have done, and it's almost like a tradition, but they use everything, and it's to feed their families. I feel like that's fine. I also understand that there's
that's
a lot of people
valid.
Who hunt because there's maybe populations of a certain type of animal that's harmful to the environment, and they're doing their part and kind of like culling back, I guess, however many animals of this kind there are. And to that, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. I am not somebody who would ever find joy in that, just because that's not really the kind of person that I am. But I do understand that there's different kinds of people in the world, and there are people who, like we were just talking about, do enjoy doing these different things, probably for a variety of reasons, whether it's nostalgia or because of family tradition or some other type of reason. I do think there is, of course, a line and a boundary, but I find that most people are pretty respectful when it comes to these types of things. Obviously, poachers need to be executed. But besides that,
Yeah. The hunting for sport is the part in my mind
I
that
don't
I
like
have
that.
trouble grasping that aspect of it, you know?
Killing for the sake of
I don't
killing,
know.
like I said, poachers is, in my books anyways, I don't care how you want to rationalize it. I don't care for it. Um, I do
Well, for poachers,
understand.
they're literally killing for like money. Like they want the ivory from
Yeah, exactly, like that
elephants,
kind of
right?
stuff,
Like,
right? Like, so I'm never going to be on board with that. And as far as like people who are like, oh, I hunt because I want to get the biggest rack that a deer has and put it up in my house. On one hand, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't personally care for that. I feel like it's a little bit tasteless. But on the other end too, I'm like, okay, if you're hunting at all and it's for say like, oh, I want to go hunting because I make deer meat for my family and that's what we eat, and at the same time you happen to get the biggest deer you've ever seen and you want to like memorialize that because you were out hunting with your son or whatever, sure, there's a story there, you're not wasting anything, that's fine. Being like, I'm going out to hunt because I like to kill and I want to find the biggest, baddest bitch out there and then kill them.
Yeah. It's a very fine line for me of like understanding and like being like, it's just,
There's a
it's a
way to
no
be
from me.
ethical. And I feel like hunting
For sure.
ethically is fine. Non-ethically, no. As far as like what defines ethical obviously changes depending from what people's opinions are and where you live, but I do feel like in general there
Yeah.
is a certain way of conducting yourself that we can all probably agree on.
For sure. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Exactly. All right, let's spin for the next question. Ding. You've already answered my next question. Would you ever go hunting? And if you were to say be invited hunting somewhere where you'd be like, sure, is there anything specific in mind that you have where you'd be like, sure, I would go hunting in this specific instance?
No, honestly, I cannot picture that for myself at all. I
It
barely
also
like going
depends on your
into the
definition of
woods.
hunting too. So technically speaking, like fishing could be considered a type of like hunting.
That's what I was just thinking about. But like honestly, I don't even really want to go fishing to hunt. I just kind of liked the vibes of being out there,
It's very,
you
I feel
know?
like, casual in comparison to hunting because hunting usually has like an end goal of I'm going to kill this. When you're fishing, that's I think that's why they call it sport fishing versus like actual fishing. Fishing for sport is literally catch and release. Like you're like when people go hunting deer with a gun, you're not going to playfully shoot the deer and then bring it back. That's not really a thing.
Yeah, like and there's like different studies on catch and release for fish that like are kind of conflicting or whatever. But like the idea of it's like you catch it and then you release it, the fish can still live its life,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
Whether anyways, doesn't matter. We're not getting into the nitty-gritty of this right now. But like there's at least a little bit more of like there's less stakes with fishing, I feel. You know? I also just do like personally feel a little bit different about I don't even know. I don't even want to go into this. I don't know if I want to go fully dive deep into my ethics because I feel like I'm a little bit wary because I was vegetarian for so long that like those morals are still there, but like I eat meat now, so they're very conflicted in my head.
No, that's fair. And this is what I was saying earlier. When you try to explore the ethics of something, that's kind of where it gets a little bit confusing, like you just said, because
It's a gray
'cause you
area.
can feel a type of way about one thing, but then it's hard to know, like, say what you just said with eating meat. Like, it's always such a gray area because on one hand, you can only do so much as far as like where you stand ethically and where you're putting your money as far as ethics go, but you're also not really necessarily going to know the certain practices of wherever it is that wherever or whatever people are doing around you.
Yeah, I feel like my stance, especially the last few years, is I'm just doing my best. I'm trying to support farms and like food that I know comes from at least a more ethical source.
But even
I
say
feel like I
like
get
farm beef,
caught up
for
in the
example,
fact that
is
like,
not hunting, right? Like you can still consume local without it being the aspect of, oh, somebody went into the woods and found Bambi's mom. Like a lot of if we're talking ethical consumption, like a lot of places that are local like are like, yeah, this is what we do. Like we breed cattle that has to be consumed because of these types of genetic factors and what have you, right?
yeah, and like I feel like I get caught up in like there is no ethical consumption in capitalism, but like
Obviously.
is that a good excuse? Like shouldn't I do more? I don't know. My head is all over the place on this one.
My head be hurting.
I spin around whenever I think about these things too hard.
And technically, I guess you could say under capitalism, ethics go out the window anyways, but that's a different conversation. But yeah, no, I could understand what you're saying. And then as far as like to me personally, if I think about hunting, I never think of it from the perspective of being the person who would hunt. I just see that as being an outside force around me because
you're coming for the vibes.
Well, my thing is like I don't have the skills to hunt in the first place. I don't have the interest, really. I don't know what I would do. And then if I did catch anything or get anything, I'd be like, and then what? It would be a waste of time for literally everybody involved. So I'm literally just like you said, the vibes. I got nothing else. If only vibes.
I'm literally crying. Oh my god. I can just it's funny to me because I can honest to God I can picture that for Emily. Like it makes sense in my head on a level that it really shouldn't.
Where it's just like people in the woods hunting and you turn around and I'm there wearing a little vest and I'm like,
you're like, I gotta buy a cute outfit for this, so that's why I came.
I wanted to own at least one thing of camo. What can I say? It's good. It's good. On that note,
so funny.
Let's spin for our next question. What's your favorite thing about Northern Carolina? Which, as a reminder, Northern Carolina offers a diverse range of attractions and experiences. Highlights include the scenic Blue Ridge Parkway, the historic Outer Banks, vibrant cities like Charlotte and Asheville. They boast natural landscapes, waterfalls, forests. It's good for hiking, biking, and water sports.
I've always been interested in visiting Charlotte specifically, but truthfully, I really don't know anything about North or South Carolina.
It's apparently known for barbecue.
Yeah, that sounds good. I've seen lots of videos actually from like tourism Charlotte.
Here. I would want to go to the Smoky Mountains. Apparently, they're national parks there.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos from Charlotte of like different food places. They have this like one Caesar salad that's like literally just like a Parmesan cheese salad, really, but it looks awesome.
I can see that for you. Actually, a Parmesan cheese salad.
That's what appeals to me. I sent it to my husband and he's like, where is this? And I was like, I think it's North Carolina.
Oh my god. No, I love that. I'm just looking at
okay, so we're going to North Carolina for a salad? But,
I mean, why not? People go to Italy for less. Then
for less. Oh my god.
They do have some historical sites I was looking at. So the Wright Brothers National Memorial, Battleship North Carolina, and then obviously the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I don't know. I feel like I would want to go for the Smoky Mountains. And I mean, if they've got good barbecue, I would not say no to a good barbecue.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to the Smoky Mountains.
Let's do it. All right, let's spin for our last question, and then you can tell me what you think today's episode's going to be about.
Cool.
Have you ever been scared of a beast slash creature in the night?
Yeah, my dog.
I know you were. I knew it. I knew you were going to say that. You're like, yeah, I live with it.
I live with a beast.
I'm thinking more like, I don't know, like I'm trying to remember growing up or something, if we ever heard stories of, oh, make sure you're back before midnight, otherwise the blah 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 is gonna get you. I feel like there wasn't really that much of that growing up, but we did also grow up in the city. So if anything, we're not really scared of the beasts that are beasts, just the beasts that are people. But I definitely went through a phase, I feel like, when I was like really young, where I was just scared of the nighttime in general. I'm like, the sun goes down and things get scary around here.
It's terrifying. I kind of like my family went camping a lot, and I feel like I was kind of terrified of the woods at night. Like, always kind of felt like there was gonna be something lurking there.
It is unsettling. I was camping like a couple months ago, and I do remember having to go for a wee whiz in the middle of the night, and you get out there without your flashlight and you can't see anything because there's no light, and you're like stumbling through the woods, and I'm like, I'm gonna pee my pants. And then at some point you're like vulnerable with your cheeks out looking at the stars, and you're like, anything could get me right now.
And I would let it take me.
And where would you go? I'd be like, I don't even know where my tent is. It's the end. I don't know how to navigate the North Star to find my campsite.
Honestly, when I was a kid, I thought navigating the North Star was going to be a bigger issue for me than it has been.
Absolutely. And then growing up, I'm like, I will never be a sailor. I do not give a shit where the North Star is. It means nothing to me.
I thought I was like, this is going to be a big deal. Like, the fact that I can't navigate it as a child made me feel like, I'm not going anywhere in life because...
Straight up.
What am I going to do?
Doesn't the North Star move also at the same time?
I have no idea. Right? I can't even tell you.
I couldn't even tell you either.
I haven't... Like, I remember, like, thinking about this. Like, I thought about it a lot, actually, as a kid, now that I'm remembering. Being like, what am I going to do when I get lost?
Yeah. See... I always thought
in
quicksand
the woods
was going to be a bigger thing to be worried about.
I did think that too.
I was like, see, what happens if I go hiking and I fall into quicksand? Then what am I going to do?
And I can't navigate the North Star.
I can't. What happens if I sink so far into the quicksand that I can't see the North Star? How am I going to get out?
Like, what am I going to do?
And what am I going to do?
I don't even know which one the North Star is. I remember, like, I pointed to what I thought was the North Star once, and I'm pretty sure my dad was like, that's a satellite. That is a satellite.
All the time as a kid, I'd be like, it's a shooting star. And my parents would be like, that's the slowest fucking satellite we've ever seen.
I know. You dumbass.
Idiot. But no, I do have a kind of a funny story. I did also at the start of the summer this year. So we have a thing on our roof where the internet dish used to be when the people who lived here before us lived here. So,
okay.
Like internet dish. Is that a satellite dish?
Like satellite?
Sure. Satellite dish. There was one on the roof, not anymore. But the post is there. So they just took the actual thing and then pieced out without taking the stand that screws into the roof. So forever I've been like, well, it's kind of super fugly. Like, what am I going to do with this? So I went and I found a weather vane. And I was like, cool, I'm going to get this weather vane in there. And then it's going to be cute, right? So I went and climbed up onto the roof. To be clear, I do not own a ladder. I quite literally finagled myself onto the roof and then left my phone behind because I was like, well, I know myself. My phone's going to fly out of my pocket and I don't want to deal with that. So I'm up on the roof, no phone, weather vane, bunch of electrical tape. So I go to stick this weather vane
Why am I not even shocked? I'm not even shocked.
I go to stick the weather vane in this little internet thing. And then I'm like thinking to myself, and I was like, I don't know where north is. So I went...
Yeah, that's the concerning part of the story.
I went purely on vibes. Purely on vibes. I was like, I really feel like if I thought to myself which way is north, that it would be this way. So I went and I taped this weather vane in with a whole roll of electrical tape. Do not fall off the roof. I have a crow, by the way. His name is Crowbert, that lives in the area that I feed cat food. And he literally watched me do all this and flew between all the trees, following me along this roof because I was trying to see like how I could get back down because I didn't know how to get back down once I got up there. And and he thought I was crazy. And to be fair, the crow was probably right. But I went and
The crow was absolutely correct.
So then I got down and I looked up and I was like, yes, this feels right. And my husband goes outside to look later and he's like, why did you put a backwards weather vane up on the roof and it's not even straight? And so the weather vane had tipped in the stand. So I quite literally have a crooked weather vane that does not point in the right direction. Fully knowingly, this is on my roof. And the other day I was working from home with the window open and there's this little kid that lives like down the way that comes by the front of our house with his dad sometimes. And he's like toddling along, right? All of 5 years old. And he's like, Dad, that's not where north is. Why does it look like that? And the dad's like, well, you see, the lady who lives here doesn't know where she is.
That's the truth.
And I couldn't even be mad. I was like, you got me there.
You're right.
You got me there.
Don't know where I am.
You 100% never heard anything else more true in my life. Oh my god. But
my god.
But anyways, to backtrack slightly, I was probably afraid of the beast in the night once upon a time. But now I'm just more afraid of myself.
I'm also more afraid of you than anything else. I'm afraid of the demon that's inside of you.
Yeah. My favorite part of telling this story is quite literally everybody I've told it to is like, that is so you. That is so on brand for something you.
It's like really on brand. Like incredibly not shocking at all. A little shocking that you didn't like electrocute yourself or fall off the roof somehow.
Dude, it was so close too. Like, my crow was so mad at me because I did almost fall off the roof at one point, and he literally was like mad at me. He has like so him and his girlfriend, Crowbertina, we're very creative with our names around here. Not Crowberta because that's dumb. Crowbertina.
Yeah,
the two of them were watching me, and they have like a call that they do when they see me, but they also have a call for me when they're mad at me that I'm not giving them cat treats fast enough. And when I was up on the roof and I almost fell off, immediately I heard them doing their angry calling at each other because Krober was in the tree right beside me and she was at the tree across the way watching me. And I was like, you know what, guys? I didn't ask for you to be here. I don't need you to be worried about me. I'm fine.
They're like, please don't die. You feed us.
That was actually probably it. Or trying to warn my husband and be like, the bitch is on the roof. Quick. Get her.
Hurry. Hurry. It's like me. I decided to put in this like little hook for my dog's leashes like at the front entrance. So we were having my husband's parents over and I was like, I got to do this quick while he's out grabbing stuff.
So you don't
because
get in trouble.
I wanted it. I wanted it like right above the light, but I didn't have time to like find studs or whatever. So I just nailed that sucker in as fast as possible.
Which is also something I would do. Did you hammer it in with the heel of a shoe because you couldn't find a hammer?
No, I found the hammer.
Okay, you're not quite at my level yet. I have a dedicated pair of shoes that I use as hammers.
I did use finishing nails though, which are too small for like the holes that it's supposed to go into. So it's a little like
Ticky?
Like leaning a little.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
That's my extra spice.
That's so us. I love that for us.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think you can guess what my story for you is today?
I don't even remember the questions. I feel like we ventured so far from the questions that
hunting, North Carolina, creature of the night.
It's a cryptid that comes out at night and kills hunters in North Carolina.
Ooh, I'm gonna give you 0.5 for that one. Actually, 0.75.
Same score as last time.
0.75.
Okay.
Because last time you kind of
slight
sucked
improvement.
at guessing the story. You're a little bit better this time.
Fair.
All right, so the Beast of Bladenboro refers to a creature responsible for a string of deaths among Bladenboro, North Carolina, of animals in the winter of 1953 to 1954. According to witnesses and trackers, it was likely a wildcat species, but its identity was ultimately definitively not confirmed. According to reports, the animal
Ooh.
commonly crushed or decapitated its victims, and all of which were mostly dogs.
Aww.
Yes. So with that, I'm just going to give a quick trigger warning because my story is a little bit heavier today, which is very unusual for me. I feel like we normally get pretty lighthearted around here. This story, because it is centered around a town specifically, does involve a lot of violence and death of pets. Mostly dogs. There are some other random ones in there. But if that is not something that you can stomach very well, I would maybe recommend skipping this episode. Just like I said, trigger warning. And also trigger warning, there will be some descriptions. So if you're okay with the concept of animals dying, you're probably going to be fine. But do keep in mind there will be some descriptions of some of the deaths of the dogs.
All right. Well, have fun, Emily. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, you're like, can I skip this one actually? I'll try and like skim over it also at the same time. I'm not going to linger over obviously gruesome things, but just keep that in mind, everybody. Are we ready?
Alrighty.
All right, sounds good. So, the first animal deaths possibly related to the Beast of Bladenboro were reported on December 29th, 1953. Witnesses described a creature that was sleek, black, about 5 feet long, which is about 1.5 meters, and it killed a dog in Clarkton, North Carolina, approximately 8 miles from Bladenboro. Then, on December 31st, 1953, 2 dogs belonging to the resident of Bladenboro were found dead with a significant amount of blood near their kennels. The owner reported that the dogs had been torn to ribbons and crushed. And then this is his quote. "My dogs put up a good fight. There was blood all over the porch, big puddles of it, and there was a pool of saliva all over the porch. It killed one dog at about 10:30 and then left it there. My dad wrapped the dog up in a blanket, and then the thing came back and got that dog, and nobody had seen it since. Then at 1:30 in the morning, it came back and killed the other dog and took it off. We found it 3 days later in the hedgerow. The top of one of the dog's heads had been torn off, and its body was crushed and wet like it had been inside of something way bigger's mouth. The other dog's lower jaw was torn off."
Oh, what an awful
It's so awful.
way to find your animals.
Right? And so this is from a man named Johnny Voss, and I was trying to find more information on particularly this person because I was like, my understanding was that these were 2 working dogs as well, because it does give context to like whatever this is, because it's one thing for pet dogs, like, you know, just a dog that lives in your home, like a smaller dog. 2 working dogs, something has to be pretty big to be taking out people's dogs who literally work on like a farm or an acreage or whatever, right?
Right.
So that's scary. And then the following day, on January 1st, 1954, 2 more dogs were then found dead on the Bladenboro farm. And this was on the night of January 2nd, 1954. A farmer had reported that a dog of his had also been killed. So literally within the span of like a week, that's 5 dogs in the same area, all dead.
Jeez.
Right? So
that's a lot.
I know. And that, like I said, within like, because I'm just looking here. Yeah, it started on the 29th. We're at January 1st. That's literally less than a week. And specifically dogs. Like, this is so targeted.
This creature definitely has a type.
For sure. So then, again, 2 more dogs were found dead on January 3rd, 1954. An autopsy was performed on one of these dogs, and it was reported back that there wasn't more than 2 or 3 drops of blood in him. The victim's bottom lip had been broken open and his jawbone smashed back. So, like, the more you learn, the freakier it gets. On one hand, you've got something targeting specifically dogs. It's acting fast. That's a lot of dogs. That's 7 dogs within a week. And then on top of that, missing blood. Like,
well, I mean, I wonder if it was just, like, drawing so much blood that it was kind of draining them.
That's what I mean, though, right? Like, and what could possibly be doing that to so many dogs, especially farm dogs that are like known for fighting coyotes? Like, you're kind of on like a different level. Also, the fact none of these dogs are being eaten.
Yeah, that's strange.
Right? Further deaths were then reported in the subsequent days. On the night of January 5th, 1954, a pet rabbit was found cleanly decapitated and still warm. Then January 7th, another dog was found in a pasture near the Bladenboro swamp. A goat had also died that night and was reported that it had died with its head flattened.
That's creepy.
Isn't it? Because I'm like, literally you hear all this together and you're like, this is just bizarre. Especially like the amount of force it would take to crush anything, let alone a skull of a living animal. That's a lot. That's like a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
So one local described the animal as being about 4.5 feet long, so 1.4 meters, long, bushy, and resembling either a bear or a panther, while another person described it as small and noted that there was a little one just like it running beside it. Another local described hearing strange noises like babies crying, though he did not see the animal, and he estimated it was close to 150 pounds. By the way, he saw it leaving through the bushes. Another account detailed in a local newspaper containing the following physical description. It was about 20 inches, 50 centimeters high. It had a long tail, about 14 inches, 35 centimeters. The color of it is dark and had the face exactly of a cat. Only I ain't ever seen a cat that big, and it was walking around super stealthily and sneaky. A group of hunters from Wilmington spent that night tracking the creature for 3 miles, about 4.8 kilometers, around swampland. According to them, the track showed claws at least 2.5 centimeters long and indicated an 80 to 90 pound, 35 to 40 kilogram animal. The beast's circling movement suggested it might have an offspring or mate nearby, the hunters had said. Then, on January 5th, so again, for context, all the shit went down in like less than 2 weeks.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. On January 5th, the beast was witnessed attacking another dog, which then ran away and was not found. Tracks were seen along a creek bank near one of the attack sites where there were 2 sets of prints and one of them was smaller. Later that day in the early evening, another resident described a big mountain lion near some dogs 3 houses down. The creature then ran towards her but turned and fled when she had screamed. Outside her home, the tracks left in the dirt road were bigger than a silver dollar, according to the police chief Flores. Then, a young boy named Dalton Norton reported seeing what he called a big cat on January 6th, and it made a noise like a baby crying on his porch before leaving. On January 11th, the 2-car stop for an animal reported to be about 4 feet, 1.2 meters long. One of the men in the car was quoted as saying that the animal had runty-looking ears and was brownish and tabby. So at some point, you're thinking, okay, so what is this? Like a panther? Like a mountain lion? And I'm just going to pull up what I was looking at earlier because I wanted to see if they're even native to North Carolina. But as far as I was able to see, as far as like notes and stuff, while bears are known to be there, not mountain lions, and they're also not known to like attack without eating, even if they have offspring. Because the reports keep being like, it's kind of feline, it's huge, there's a bigger one and a smaller one, they look like this, but then it's like, but it's attacking and not eating anything. And it's specifically attacking dogs.
And not even just like once, but like multiple times.
Yeah, and even going as far as like, okay, like rabbits and goats and like everything else. Okay, yeah, so I just wanted to double check. There are no established wild populations of mountain cats of any kind in Northern Carolina. There used to be eastern cougars, but have long since been extinct.
What year were they extinct?
It was actually officially declared extinct January of 2018, which is interesting.
So there's potential.
It's potential, but I guess at the time... Oh yeah, so there's like a huge gap though. So there's a confirmed sighting of an eastern cougar in Northern Carolina in 1938. And then from there... It wasn't until 2011 before U.S. Fish and Wildlife started researching the eastern cougar status, and then they started delisting it in 2015, and then they were officially determined extinct in 2018.
So
there's a chance.
Probably not a super large population.
So there's a chance, but it's slim. And if it was an eastern cougar, which does kind of sound like it would be interesting that as an extinct species, it wouldn't be hunting to eat.
Yeah. It's interesting in general because I feel like usually they hunt to eat.
Yeah, right? So then, especially if it's like a mom and a baby, that's the big thing. I feel like
Yeah.
occasionally, at least where Jen and I are from, there are stories of like animals that do hunt for sport, weirdly enough. Like there are some bears that'll do that. But as far as like
Yeah, and
anything,
like cougars and stuff.
right, but anything that has an offspring is usually hunting specifically to feed their young. Like there's a purpose to that. This is not.
Yeah, because they usually don't want to like risk their young.
Exactly. So it's already like a very weird situation. To me, it does sound very cougarish, but then the actions of it are very like bizarre. So then a man named Luther Davis and Mayor Woodrow Fussell, next to the Bobcat there was a man named Luther Davis and Mayor Woodrow Fussell who had been hunting bobcats at the time, thinking that maybe it was a bobcat. So there is some photos of them trapped, like the bobcats, but they aren't anywhere big enough to be close to being whatever this thing is that's been killing the dogs. So that was on the evidence list. And then on the night of January 3rd, Police Chief Roy Flores searched for the creature with his dogs, but they reportedly would not even follow the trail. So the dogs could smell this thing, but were not anywhere interested in trying to find it. Which is also weird for a dog, I will say.
Yeah. I mean, in that sense, the dogs are probably smarter than us.
Yes. A half dozen brave youths and their dogs then spent January 4th searching for the creature, while that night, Flores and 8 to 10 other officers conducted their own hunt. Hunters who traveled to Bladenboro from Wilmington, another town close by, also searched for the beast that evening, reportedly tracking it for 3 miles, 4.8 kilometers around the swamp. Then on the night of January 5th, more than 500 people and dogs hunted through the woods and the swamps for the creature. On January 6th, more than 800 people turned up to hunt for the beast in the swamps. Flores planned to tie up dogs as bait to lure the creature out, but the plan was not put into action, thank God, and the hunt itself also ended by officials due to safety concerns. They had nearly 1,000 people show up trying to hunt this thing.
I wonder if it was like a gator or something.
It's a gator. There's
Was
a
it a gator?
feline-looking gator wandering around killing dogs.
Maybe.
Honestly, at this point, I'd believe anything, because none of it makes sense to me. And then on January 7th, around another 800 to 1,000 people gathered to hunt the creature. During the evening of the 8th, 4 fraternity brothers from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill were the only reported hunters. Then Mayor Fussell officially called off the hunt unless the creature made another obvious kill or there was a legitimate sighting. The armed hunting parties of the previous nights had become too large for safety, and Flores received a telegram from a humane society in Asheville, North Carolina, protesting his plan to stake out dogs as bait for the creature. Rightfully so, because that's fucked up.
Yes, let's not use dogs as bait, please.
Yeah. So then, January 13th, Luther Davis, a local farmer, as I talked about earlier, had been finding bobcats at this time and got a picture with a bobcat struggling in a steel trap in Big Swamp, 4 miles, 6.4 kilometers from the city, and he shot it in the head. And so that's like what I was saying earlier as far as like physical evidence goes. So they have a picture of this. Personally, I don't think the picture looks anything like what anybody's described, but I guess he is a picture of him with a bobcat. So, okay. Thanks, Luther.
That just seems like a side quest.
It does
the
give
guy
big
went
side
on.
quest energy. Then Woodrow Fussell, the mayor of Bladenboro, told newspapers that the Beast of Bladenboro had been found and killed, and they were saying it was this bobcat. They were like, look, he's got a picture with a bobcat. The beast is dead.
We did it.
It's gone. You can all go home now.
Let your dogs out in the yard.
Yeah, set your dogs free, and I will not be using them as bait.
Totally won't.
Or will I? Yeah. However, it has been questioned on whether or not such a small cat could have killed and mangled the dogs. Personal opinion, since we live in a place where both bobcats and dogs live out in the woods, bobcats do not tussle with dogs, really. They kind of just mind their own business, for the most part.
Yeah.
So then, on the same day, Bruce Souls from Tabor City was leaving Bladenboro when he hit a cat with his vehicle. According to reports, it was spotted like a leopard and about 20 to 24 inches, 50 to 60 centimeters high, weighed between 75 and 90 pounds, 35 to 40 kilograms. He then took the cat home with him to Tabor City. Yet a third man, professional hunter and guide Barry Lewis, is credited in some newspapers to having killed the animal. There were conflicting reports about whether or not it was David's or Lewis's cat that Mayor Fussell photographed and sent out to the press. Lewis was reportedly hunting in a different part of Bladen County when he shot and killed his bobcat. So basically, at the same time that this bobcat was shot and killed, and they were like, "Look, we got the beast." There's other people being like, "Well, I got one too with my car." Maybe I got the monster. And there's no confirmed anything about this, by the way. This is strictly just people saying shit. And so for me, I'm like, this feels like such a fish story, you know?
Yeah.
Where a guy's like, "Well, you had a bobcat. I got a bobcat too. And it was huge.
Yeah.
And it's in my home.
And mine was bigger than yours.
And mine's bigger than yours." Yeah, it gives that kind of energy. So then, many reported accounts describe the Beast of Bladenboro as feline, as we know at this point, but nobody can agree on one specific species. The animal has been described as resembling either a bear or a panther, so that kind of is the one consistency. Mostly feline, but bearish. Wilmington hunter S.W. Garrett also claimed to have heard the creature scream while hunting and likened it to that of a panther. Harry Davis, curator at the Raleigh State Museum, had said that a panther never occurs in this country and was of the opinion that it might have actually been a coyote, which I'm going to say, a coyote is a coyote. That's not like a mysterious
Hard to mistake
thing.
that for a big cat, I will say.
I have seen many a coyote. Not once have I ever been like, "That's a big
Same.
cat."
I also have seen many coyotes, and yeah, I can't say that I've ever even sort of mistaken one for the other.
Yeah, not even once. So then, one local resident claimed that the beast had tracks like those of a dog, but also said, "I've never seen a dog that large." Chief Flores also reported it to believing the beast to be a wolf. He said that old folks say they remember seeing wolves in the Bay Swamp area and talk about them every now and then. Then a man named C.E. Kinlaw described the creature as looking like a big mountain lion, or her, I should say, when it charged her on January 5th. Mountain lion, in case anybody is listening to the show and is not aware, is a term typically used west of the Mississippi for a cougar. In Canada, we also call them both mountain lions and cougars. So usually if you say one or the other, people know what you're talking about.
A bit interchangeable.
They're pretty interchangeable. Then the game warden of Elizabeth County, Northern Carolina, Sam Culberth, said that the tracks he investigated indicated a catamount, which is another name for a cougar down there, which is not, I've actually not heard that one before.
Mm-mm.
And then other people described the animal as likely being a wolverine, while others speculated that the creature might have been a wild police dog. Which I'm going to say again, you know what a dog looks like. Also, a dog would not be going around sitting and crushing the heads of goats and decapitating other dogs. That's just not a thing.
I mean, I know that that's kind of a crazy theory, but I do like the idea of that the most. That is this fucking rabid cop dog gone rogue.
Yeah, cop dog gone wild. He busts out of his cage and he's like,
I gotta protect the city.
Built for the streets. Pretty much.
The idea of that brings me a little bit of joy.
It brings me joy
in
too.
This terrible story.
Yeah. And then A.R. Stanton, a man from Lumberton, North Carolina, thought that the Beast of Bladenboro was a German Shepherd and a hound mixed together named Big Boy that he gave to a Native American boy who lived along the edge of the Big Swamp. Big Boy was dark and had a long bushy tail. Stanton claimed that Big Boy was capable of leaping over a 6-foot, 1.8 meter fence and killed chickens sometimes. I somehow also don't think it's Big Boy. I
feel like chickens are in a little bit of a different league than other dogs, goats, you know?
Yeah, I would really strongly agree with that. I feel like chicken is kind of like, yeah, they die sometimes.
Maybe the bunny. I could see
Right?
the bunny.
Right.
But
not a goat.
The rest
not
is
other
reaching.
Dogs. No. I feel like Big Boy did not do that. Then Lumberton veterinarian N.G. Baird said that it was very feasible that Big Boy was responsible for the attacks, which I feel like he's a liar. Then
Honestly, justice for Big Boy.
Justice for Big Boy. Baird also said that it was possible Big Boy, or a different dog, could have killed the other dogs and then lapped up the blood instead of sucking it. To which I say, is this dog a vampire? Like, what are you talking about? You're like, yeah.
Like, what kind of dogs do they have in North Carolina?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, that's Big Boy. We think he's a chupacabra. He goes around here sucking the bloods of chickens and other dogs.
He's a killer at heart.
He's a killer. No. Big Boy, and no dog is a vampire. To be clear, there is no dog. No dog. I can say this with confidence. Armed to the sky, I 100% believe, not a shadow of a doubt, there is not a single breed of dog that exists in this world that goes around sucking the blood of other dogs. I am willing to go to sleep tonight believing that with my whole heart.
She said it with her whole chest, guys.
I said it with my whole chest. I refuse. I don't believe that.
You know what? I'm with you there, because that's pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
Unless it's the cop dog, in which case I do believe that fully.
Who's also a chupacabra? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then, of course, there is the legend, right? Because something like this can't happen without leaving behind some kind of legacy. So, literature about the events of the winter of 1953 to 1954 tend towards skepticism, particularly because of the publicity involved for the town through the sensationalization of news reports. Mayor Woodrow Fussell, who operated the town theater, went to Charlotte, North Carolina on January 6th to book the film The Big Cat for a day. Fussell then told an interviewer that he believed the creature to be a hoax, even though he was the one who had called the Wilmington newspaper about the dead dogs. He found the manner of their death strange, and that a little publicity never hurt a town. I'm just going to say this.
Classic 1950s mayor.
Classic mayor from the 1950s, absolutely. But I'm also going to say, I feel like this is backpedaling, because I feel like you'd have to have a lot of people in on this hoax with you to come up with somewhere between 7 to 10 dead dogs.
Yep.
So
that would take a little bit of coordination on a few
I'm going to
people's
operate
part.
on the belief that there were a lot of dead dogs here, but he just does not know how to explain them, and now it looks bad. So now he's backpedaling.
Yeah, that feels right.
Mm-hmm. So then a one-armed sign painter tailored his art to fit the sensationalism, oh my god, surrounding the incidents in 1954, making bumper plates proclaiming home of the Beast of Bladenboro. Then on the morning of December...
I'd put that on my car.
Right? Why not? That's a good bumper sticker. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
On the morning of December 15th, 1954, on Tenant Farm near Robeson Memorial Hospital, 5 medium-sized pigs and 3 chickens were found dead with crushed skulls. 3 of the pigs had legs torn apart from their bodies. Strangely enough, no blood was evident, indicating that the killer employed the same blood-sucking traits as the Bladenboro beast. Then, the next day, a stray dog was killed, from which the county dog warden said was most notably from the killer the day before of the pigs, even though the tracks found near the farm were not compared to the dead dogs, and it was not explained how the dog could have reached the chickens, which were reportedly roosting in a tree. So basically, they had the exact same shit happen. A full year passed, like spring, summer, fall. We're back in December. 3 pigs and a chicken with their heads crushed. And then a dog is found dead the next day with no blood. And the guy's like, obviously the dog got in and crushed the pigs' heads. Because that's a thing that stray dogs do. Stupid. No.
Yeah, this situation's totally unrelated.
Totally. And then I love this little like side part in my notes where it's like, even though it was not explained how the dog could have reached the chickens who had reportedly been roosting in a tree. So they're like, now you're trying to say that, first of all, this dog crushes skulls for fun, just a random one, sucked its own blood out, there is none left, and then also climbed a tree to get to these chickens.
It just feels unlikely.
One of these things could be true. One of these things could be true. All 3 of these things? Nah.
Feels like a reach.
Definitely a reach. So, Boost the Borough, a community booster for Bladenboro, holds an annual Beast Fest in which the Beast of Bladenboro, or Bob for short, serves as a mascot. Boost the Borough makes use of the Beast sensationalized history amongst locals to generate excitement for the community event. And that is the Beast of Bladenboro.
What a journey we just went on.
Isn't it?
I'm guessing the crime is murder for you?
100% murder of many dogs, in my opinion. Like, I started this story and I was like, oh, like, I hate doing stories that are just senseless violence for no reason. For this one, it was just weird enough for me, especially because the manner of which they died, how short it was, like a week to 2 weeks, 10 dead dogs. That's a lot of dead dogs for 2 weeks. How, like I said, how they died, and then also everybody being like, it's a cougar, the cougars don't live here, and also there was a rabbit, and a chicken, and pigs, and all of their skulls are crushed. Our dogs around here are very strong. I'm like, you gotta be hearing yourself say these things, right?
They're just going with it. They don't, no thoughts, head empty.
They're just like, we have a lot of things to say, and none of them make sense. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Right? So what do you think? Is the Beast of Bladenboro some mysterious monster or an animal? Or what do we think? Or a human?
I don't know. I'm going with the cop dog.
See, so usually when I do these stories, I have a pretty good inkling about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
When I first was doing my notes for this, I was like, oh yeah, like I could really see it being like some subspecies of mountain cat that maybe just so happened to be in the area, or maybe somebody had like an exotic pet that got out. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, people typically aren't strong enough to crush heads of anything else without help. So that makes me think it's an animal or something else. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, animals don't really act that way, especially like for the not eating part. So
yeah, it's bizarre,
right? But I feel like we've covered our notes far enough on this. If you like today's episode, you could leave us a review on wherever you're listening to our podcast. We have our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com if you want to check us out on there. We have our email, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com. We have our Patreon, which is Wheel of Crime on Patreon. And we have our social media, which is Wheel of Crime on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok if you want to check us out on there.
Yes, that's it. That's all. And we'll see you next week for another new episode. Okay, bye.
Bye.